Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
No.
But well, then in that case, you are looking at hourly rates.
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. And man, we got something good today, man. We got wage gap. What about gender workplace hours gap? So it's pretty much about these two women, they're feminists. They pretty much come to the court or whatever and trying to present to the senator that wage gap exists and that men get paid more than women. That's pretty much what wage gap that's what wage gap means. So pretty much he kind of just pretty much breaks it down and debunks it. You know, he debunks this wage gap stuff. So we're just gonna get into it, man. And also another thing for me, I never really been into this wage gap thing. You know, not like any other red pill content. All the other red pill content I kind of talk about, kind of been into, but you know, the wage gap never really. I don't know. It just never really struck me for anything. You know, I just kind of just always shrug it off. But you know, as time went on, I kind of learned more about it. You know, I was kind of more just going with the flow. Like somebody say, "Hey, wage gap exists," I'm just like, you know, sure or whatever. But I have to do my research and doing few debates about it. I feel like, you know, I can kind of talk about it and want to bring, you know, bring some light on it. You know, but hey, man, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, like, comment, and subscribe, man. Let's get into it.
All right. On another issue, what is the gender workplace hours gap? The agency reports a workplace gender pay gap comparing male full-time employees and female full-time employees. But male full-time employees work longer hours on average than female full-time employees. And the agency doesn't account for this when reporting a workplace gender pay gap.
Using ABS data on employee earnings and hours, the gender pay gap as at May 2016 was 15.7%. It is a survey of employees, that information from the ABS. It's not a census. And it's only conducted every 2 years. They only collect the data every 2 years. What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
You don't?
But we annualise the part-time hours and those that have worked full-time but for part of the year. So that way, because at the moment, what I can tell you is women work part-time at 3 times the rate of men. So by annualising it, we are looking at a more realistic...
So you base it on annual salary?
Yeah.
What about if you did it on an hourly rate? What would be the gender hourly pay gap?
Well, we don't have that data, Senator.
You don't have that data?
No, because we ask for annualised salaries from our employers when they report their data in.
Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
No.
Yeah.
But well, then in that case, you are looking.
I got that ass. My only thing, right? When I was debating with somebody, like I be having, I wouldn't say this past month, I've kind of been debating about this itself. I was talking to somebody and I just said, just put it this way. Man, it just makes you think. If you can pay a woman less to work for you, wouldn't it be smart? Wouldn't it be, as a business owner, wouldn't it be smart to grab that person than grab a man who you have to pay $1 for? A woman you only have to pay 80 cents. A man you have to only pay $1. Who you going to pick? You're going to pick the person that you have to pay less because that's better for your pockets and for your business. So when you look at it that way, when somebody told me to look at it that way, I said, you know what, that makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. So pretty much, man, once again, you see how he's just slowly debunking it. He's asking questions that women she chooses not to document. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by withholding information or not even getting the right information. So she didn't bring everything to the table. She kind of came unprepared to some degree. But let's go ahead and jump back into it.
At hourly rates.
Janine Budoft, Research and Analytics Executive Manager. So we do not collect the real hours that an employee might have worked. So what we do collect is the hours that are specified in a contract, and that is provided by organisations to us. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, do you annualise it on the assumption that men and women are working the same number of hours, or is it actual earnings?
It's actual earnings, and we are unable to. We don't have the data to distinguish or to then adjust for hours because we cannot collect the real hours that employees are working.
So it's not possible to tell whether any or some of the gender pay gap is just simply attributable to a different number of hours worked. Is that right?
It depends on whether we're looking at hours that are in contract or whether we're looking at hours that employees worked as overtime.
Why is it you don't look at hours worked? You don't collect it, but the ABS does. It's available.
The ABS does a survey, yes.
Every 2 years.
Yes.
But again, as I say, we collect census data, that is survey data. And the other thing I would say at this stage, Senator, is just because somebody might be sitting at their desk for 12...
They're only collecting data that helps them and that benefits them. Once somebody loses the argument, now they just start to grab and pull for everything. They're just like, you know what? All right, cool. I'm going to just... Whatever's in the air, I'm going to just grab for it. I'm going to just pull it. I'm going to just go ahead and just say whatever the fuck comes to my mind. This is what she's about to do.
12 hours a day doesn't mean you're getting 12 hours of productivity out of them, and doesn't mean that they're working in essence any harder than someone that may sit at their desk for 8 hours. So I don't think...
That's true, but they're getting paid for the 12 whether they're doing any work or they're getting paid for however many hours they're sitting at their desk. And the issue for your agency is that...
She kind of contradicts herself to some degree, because if you're sitting over here saying, she's pretty much saying a guy who's working 12 hours is not the same as a woman who's working 8 hours, and you may not get the same productivity out of that. So my thing is, that first of all, that has nothing to do with wage gap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is just straight, now she's just pulling straight emotion. Sitting over here saying that a guy who's working 12 hours does not mean you're getting 12 hours worth of work from that guy or productivity from that guy. What does that have to do with wage gap, man? What does that have to do with wage gap, bro?
If it's a male sitting at a desk, they're getting paid more than a female sitting at a desk. So the question is whether that, irrespective of the hours, the question is whether for those hours for which they're getting paid, is there a difference between men and women? So
we don't collect information on ours, Senator.
ABS does, so it's available. So if we put in a question on notice, will you access the ABS data and so you can answer that question?
Well, I did answer it earlier. I said that the ABS employee and earnings and hours data, as at May 2016, the gender pay gap was 15.7%.
That, if I understood you correctly, it's referring to annualised salary, is that right?
Not.
What's the gap based on? Per hourly rates or annual incomes or annualised incomes, or what are we talking about here?
Okay. The EEH data, so that's the employee earnings and hours data, includes all employees regardless of employment status and reflects ordinary time cash earnings. The EEH survey produces hourly earnings for non-managers and can be used to produce a gender pay gap measure inclusive or exclusive of part-time employees. The EEH data can also be configured in a variety of other ways that are useful to the gender pay gap estimates, e.g. managerial versus non-managerial employees. The big drawback from where we sit is that EEH data was identified as being, is just done on a 2-year cycle.
I don't think I can think of many men who would find it acceptable that a woman, irrespective of how many hours she's working in the day, if she's doing the same amount of work as a man, or the same job as a man, was paid any less on the basis that she's a woman. I can't think of any men who would support that. And yet, because you're not looking at hours, we don't know whether that's occurring or not. Am I right there?
Senator, I think at this stage, as I've said to you, we are unable to collect and analyse that data. There are other countries, of course, that do that, and we will...
Not even every 2 years with the ABS survey data? You could do it at least every 2 years.
And I gave you the figure of 15.7% based on the calculation that we last did.
What's the 15.7 reflect?
So what I was about to say, Senator, is I'm happy to take that question on notice and go back and look at that last calculation that we did and provide you with the workings on that.
You toe it up. If you're going to come to a senator or president or whatever, you got to have the right information. And you got to have all of the information. You can't just pick and choose what's good for you to make your side look better. So pretty much, like I said, you got to go back and think about it this way. What company is going to sit over here and continue to waste money on somebody when they can just sit over here and get somebody who's doing the exact same work that's just as qualified and can be paid less? Just think about that. If she's getting paid, if I only have to pay her 80 cents, but I gotta pay this guy $1, why would I still keep this dude that I gotta keep paying $1 for when I can just pay this girl 80 cents? You look at it that way. But also, man, what we gotta think about is that a lot of men go into these strenuous jobs that will pay more. So just think about this. How many women do you see doing construction? Whenever you go out there and see construction, you just see straight men. So pretty much, man, this is a good lesson for myself too, because like I said, I'm not a real guru when it comes to the wage gap. Like I said, I've been learning just as much as these people I've been debating with. So just like I said, you gotta be prepared, man, when you come through shit like this, man. Especially a senator. You want to come to a senator, man, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. You're trying to get something passed, you gotta be ready, man. But hey, man, I ain't gonna, it's something short or whatever, but hey, deuces.